we look like grasshoppers in their eyes. And we also know that the way they're looking at us, they're also seeing us as grasshoppers. The problem is, how can you see yourself in your eye and see yourself in the eye of another person? So the issue with that is, if you don't first of all accept yourself, if you don't first of all like yourself, if you're not first of all proud of yourself, and when I say proud now, I don't mean arrogant. I mean that you have this sense of completeness, wholeness in yourself. If you don't first of all do it for yourself, there's every likelihood that you're going to be looking at people. How does this person see me now? And that's why you're not talking when you get into this kind of environment. Okay, but people with low self-esteem, people with low self-confidence, they're always thinking, oh, nobody likes me. What am I going to say now that they're not going to laugh at me? I'm not good enough and all of that. But I'm trusting that at the end of tonight, that if there's anybody here like that, we're going to be able to deal with that. Meanwhile, I showed our younger brothers and sisters a video on Friday. I'm going to show us a different video today, something that relates more to us. But let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. If you were talking to me, I wanted to hear some characteristics of people with self-confidence. Wisdom, can you help me? If you meet somebody, how do you know that that person is confident? Or how do you know that you yourself are confident in yourself? Is Wisdom still here? Oh, some other persons have joined us. Inyolua is here, Tehila, Abigail, Treasure is here. So anybody can unmute and talk to me. Let me see those that have confidence in themselves in this class. I have confidence, so raise up my hand.
Yes, I have confidence in me.
Who has confidence? Tehila, talk to me. I want you to talk to me. Unmute yourself and speak. No, this night is speaking time. Oh. Hmm.
It's like sending a message to you. Check it out.
Okay. They listen more and more than they speak. Okay. 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 Being wrong is not a fear. That's awesome. Yes, they're not afraid to be wrong. Powerful, powerful. Okay, if you don't want to talk, you can use the chat function. Yes, I'm just realizing that that is also open. If you don't want to talk, you can use the chat. But if you want to talk, yes, unmute yourself and talk. So confident people listen more than they talk. Okay, I'm thinking now in application. There's some, I think wise people listen more than they talk. Some people that talk more are confident, but sometimes they just talk and it might not be wise things that they're saying. I've noticed that foolish people are more confident than wise people sometimes. And say, Tima, what do you think?
I was just going to say so. I was just like, they are so confidently foolish.
Very stupid people are very
They
confident. They're
don't
confident.
even care. And so that's why it could be really painful when the person who knows it all, is quiet
Is
and
second
just
guessing themselves.
because they are not confident is a loss. I think it's you're losing out because you know what to say. What you have to say will change the world, and you're just quiet only because. And really, it's not about fear. They're not afraid.
It's what
They're
it's what we
just
people
not
say.
confident. Finish. There's no other, there's nothing else. And like when I'm dealing with teenagers, they say things, they judge, oh. The people not
Mm,
speaking, the people that know, the
mm,
wiser people, they judge.
mm.
Theory, this one is for me that he knows. Okay, you that
You that
truly
know it,
knows,
come and
why
talk.
don't
Come on.
why don't you? So they have an issue. It's not enough for you to know these things. These things will not jump out of your head to the world. You will need to, you know, bring it out. Bring it out. That's the point. Just bring it out.
I wish I can see the faces of
So
all of
I
you that
agree
I'm
with you.
talking to. I wish I can see the faces of everybody. Okay. Because I also need you to talk to me. If you have if I've been there, I've been in a place where, you know what, stupid people are just bringing out their stupid solutions, stupid ideas, and the more we keep quiet as intelligent people, um, that's why our society is the way we are. So if we can build confidence just before you get into the university, because you're going to see a lot of foolish people in the university, a lot of them, there are plenty of them. And if you have not built confidence and you get in there, they're going to they're going to teach you their ways. They're going to teach you their ways. But let's run. I'll look at a few characteristics of confident people. Confident people are happy with themselves. All right, they are happy. Let's just leave it at that. They are happy with themselves. They're not. They're not. Excuse me. There might be times where you do something that you know is wrong. Okay, and you don't like that, but it doesn't cancel out the fact that you are content. That's the word, contentment. Confident people have contentment in themselves. Like, I'm cool with me, I like me, I love me the way I am. All right, I walk into an environment, I try as much as possible to dress well, but I know that somebody is going to dress better than me is granted. Okay, I know that somebody is going to wear a more expensive wristwatch. I know that somebody is going to wear a more expensive shoe, for instance. But I like me. I love me the way I am. Confident people express their opinion. If I sit in an environment where it's a meeting, there is option for, okay, what do you think? I share my opinion. You may not accept it, but it's fine. I'll let you know my opinion. And that you don't accept it doesn't mean that we quarrel. No, we're not going to quarrel. But I will tell you my opinion. The way we say it here is I will tell you my mind. Abby, I'm going to tell you my mind, but as respectfully as possible. Confident people are not afraid to talk to other people. I used to have a friend when we were in school. Trying to remember her name now, is a lady. That girl can knock on any office door. Like, is it a human being behind that office? Yes. Her name is Joy. Is it a human being? Let's go. We'll knock on the office. And then the worst that you can get is a no. That's the worst thing anybody can tell you is no. And man, if you tell me no, well, good for you. All right. And then with you see, I realized that, and let me tell you these young people, I am also very young, and I used to tell my teenagers that I'm also a teenager. But listen, let me tell you this. As you grow older, you're going to regret the things that you know you should have done that you did not do. You're going to regret them. It happens every time. Oh, I wish I did. I wish I did. I wish I did. Don't accumulate the number of things you wish you did. Start doing them now. I heard Auntie Etima in introduction talking about don't wait, okay, I'll go to school first and then develop life skills later. Don't do that. You're going to wish you did those things that you should have done at the right time. So let's continue. Confident people take action. Confident people express their emotions. And I wrote down confident people identify their emotions and express them. I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to tell you that I am hot. I'm not afraid to tell you that I feel bad. So I identify that emotion and express it. That is confidence. So that they will not think I'm a weak boy, especially for boys. They tell us that boys don't cry. I don't know chapter what verse what in the Bible where they said boys don't cry. Express your emotions. Express it. It makes you a strong person, actually. Express your emotions. Um, I'll just share one more. I have a lot of them. I'll just share one more. This is very important for me. Confident people are not afraid to try new things. Confident people are not afraid to try new things. I went to the NYSC. I've never done those jumps that they do in the military. Okay, let's do it. Let's have an experience. As long as it's safe, nobody's going to lose a life. Nobody is going to break a leg. And there are security agents there are health paramedics and all of those kind of things. Give it a try. Put it in your experience basket. Oh, I used to know this. Don't go and be trying alcohol and weed. That one, you already know the outcome. Try new things that are productive and that are good and that are great. Okay, so let's roll. I'll just look at one or two characteristics of people with low confidence, people that don't have confidence. They are indecisive. Uh, Procrastination is one sign of lack of confidence. You're always thinking, can we do it tomorrow? Can we do it another time? They find it difficult to make decisions. That's what happens to people with low self-confidence. Uh, they are very passive. They are very passive. What does it mean to be passive? It means, um, I don't know if you have a friend. If anytime you ask, what do you think? Say, anything you people say, let's do it like that. Anything you people say. What do you mean by anything we people say? When would they write your own opinion in the matter? I talked about confident people sharing their opinion. Those that don't have confidence always want anything the other people say. That's how one day they will say they want to break your head. You say anything you people say. So don't go with anything they say. Put your opinion on the ground. Put your opinion on the ground. Okay. Um, how do we develop? I want to talk about how we develop self-confidence. But where before I talk about how we develop self-confidence, I don't know who else is going to talk to me now. I've heard from Tehila. Excuse me. I've heard from Tehila. I've heard from Wisdom. Who else wants to talk to me? Where do you think low self-confidence comes from? Because this is a real challenge for a lot of young persons. If you know where it's coming from, then you can address it. Is Treasure still here? Treasure, Abigail, I want to hear from you. I can see Ruth is in the house. Where do we get our low confidence from? I'm looking to see if somebody is sending me a chat or somebody is trying to unmute themselves and talk. Abigail, please talk to me. I have a classwork for this class, so I have something for us to do. This one that you guys are just listening to me from. Ruth, your sound is not even connected. So let me see if Abigail is going to talk to me. Abigail, I'm waiting. Probably what people say. Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Abigail. What people say is where we get. Yeah, very true. So a lot of people with low self-confidence, it actually coming from somebody that we admire. In a lower said, I think from neglecting other people, like not paying attention to others. Exactly. That's true. That's true. So I'll give a typical example. Maybe you're looking up to your parents. Most times it's from parents, so and then the other times it's from teachers, people that you love and admire. If they don't give you that love and admiration in return, you tend to feel like, oh, why did they do that? Is it that I'm not good enough or something? Which is why when I talk about self-confidence, I usually talk about getting mentors and role models that will give you love and admiration in return. Okay. There's this popular saying, don't go where you are tolerated, go where you are celebrated. I don't like it for young people because some foolish people can also celebrate foolishness. Get yourself a good mentor, get yourself um, get yourself a good role model. And if you're blessed to have parents that speak into your life, that love you, of course, for you to be on this academy, I think you have some great role models that speak to you because that's where low self-esteem usually comes from. And then if you have friends that put you down, get out of those kind of relationships. You have friends that are always telling you all the bad things that you have done. Get out of that relationship. You want to go where people, yes, will correct you when you are wrong, but they will celebrate you when you achieve, no matter how little it is. You, you, you just washed a car. That's powerful. You just passed an exam. Well, that's great. You just learned how to braid for ladies. You just learned how to make your hair or to braid somebody's hair. You learned a skill. That's awesome. You just painted a design on your drawing book. That's so awesome. So very important because if you know the sources of low confidence, then you can learn how to build self-confidence. Now, how do you build confidence? I usually say confidence comes from the inside. Confidence comes from the inside. So one of the things you must do is you must learn how to talk to yourself. Um, we don't have the time. I teach affirmations a lot. You must learn how to, excuse me, you must learn how to affirm yourself. You must learn how to affirm yourself. You must learn how to affirm yourself. Uh, I'm thinking I want to show us the video now so that we can do a little bit of clap before I continue, because I want to show you practically what I'm talking about. And Tetima, is everybody here? Can we take, okay, somebody else wrote, yeah, Inelua has a question. Go ahead, shoot your question. I want to hear. If you're typing, type it out. If you want to talk to me directly, or meet yourself and talk.
Go ahead, Ini. Okay, maybe she's typing. You were saying something about the video.
Yes, I'm going to share it shortly because I'm looking at my time. It's something I want everybody to see, and then we can use that to
Yeah,
continue. I
yeah,
wanted to play it
you
at the
can.
end, but just as I'm sharing what I'm sharing now, I think this is a good time to play it. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I also sent you a message and said, Tim, try and respond to me.
Yes, yes, you can. Yes.
Okay, okay, okay,
While Ini is coming with her question, let's just
okay. Ini, I'm waiting for your question. And any
let's
other
just go
person, you have a
ahead.
question, please shoot, shoot, shoot. If you are with people who don't understand you one bit, what can you do to make them understand? I need an explanation. I myself now, Ini, I need an explanation because there are different kind of persons who might not understand you. Is this person your mom or your dad or your friends? Okay, give me an example of this situation you're explaining while I look for my video. I'm going to try and find it and share my screen. Yeah, I get that. My parents. Okay. They don't understand you. Um, it's going to be some long call. Ini, can you unmute yourself? Let's talk. The chat might make us slower. Unmute yourself. Let me talk to you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Like, the question is just like if you are like staying with your parents and your families and like
Sorry,
you
increase your
try to
volume a
make
little bit.
them you try to make them understand you, but
Mm.
they don't understand you. What can you do to make them understand you? That's the question.
Give me an example of one misunderstanding that you have had.
Like, okay, say like now I have passion for playing basketball.
Okay.
So the thing is that when it comes to all these like things that have to do with, let's just say, biblical things like that, yeah, it's a good
Okay.
thing, no, but I always try to understand why they're always more interested in they always want me to be more interested in all those things than what me I really want, like that.
Okay. Are you
I
interested
don't
in
know
the
if you
Bible?
understand what I'm
I
trying to say.
understand you. I understand you. I understand you. Are you interested in the Bible?
Yes,
Or you're also interested in sports?
yes, that's it, but they don't understand the way I feel when it comes to sporting activities.
Okay. Okay. So I'll give you a
and they
typical
think
example.
and they think that's like a distraction for me. So how do
Yeah.
I make them understand that it's not a
Yeah. Yeah.
distraction?
Yeah. I can give you a few tips. We don't have enough time to get into the details of this, but I can give you a few tips. First of all, is I used to have a very serious quarrel with my parents. Well, not quarrel like quarrel, but like you're saying, misunderstanding. They didn't get where I was coming from, and uh, it made me work double hard, like double hard. What I mean by double hard, because first of all, I needed to um, satisfy what they wanted when they wanted it. Then I needed to take extra time to do the things that I really wanted until what I was doing started having results. Until what I was doing started having results. I'll give you a typical example. Um, when I came back to the house on a Sunday night, for instance, I didn't wait until Monday morning before I do the dishes. Usually we want to eat, keep the plates in the sink, and then come early in the morning to come and wash the dishes. No, Sunday night, while everybody is sleeping, I'm doing the dishes. So that when everybody is awake in the morning, there's no dish to be done. I can wake up in the morning, dress up, and get out of the house. So I was trying as much as possible to buy myself more time from several other places. Now you love basketball, for instance, and they want you to do Bible study. Maybe they want you to go to church, which is not a bad thing. Okay, you must understand also that your parents live in a different generation from you. So sometimes we have this clash of generations. They don't understand what we are talking about. I came out of a meeting with parents on Friday, and this is what I was trying to get a lot of parents to understand that okay, young people have their phones, and it's not always bad to use a phone. It depends on what you do with the phone. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Try as much as possible to do what you are supposed to do, because you see, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do at home, you're going to have a hard time convincing your parents that the other thing you
So
want to do
sorry,
is
sir.
important. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, sir. But whenever I try to do what, like, just try to like, do what they want me to do, it for me, I don't know. It always leads to another thing entirely. Do you
And
understand
nothing.
what I just
No,
said?
I don't understand that. Make me
Entirely,
understand.
like now, like now, let's say they tell me to do dishes. Like I don't want to do. Okay, I now agree to do it. But while I'm
Mm,
doing it, they bring up another matter again, another thing entirely that is not
mm.
related to what they asked me to do. Or
Have you ever tried, excuse me, have you ever tried negotiating with your parents?
mm, no, but I've tried to, but I don't know. I don't think
Mm.
it worked out. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Maybe you need to try it
It
again, or
didn't
maybe
work.
learn a few other things. Like, mom, I'd really like to. Let's use the dishes thing for instance. You have done your dishes. You have done what you're supposed to do for the day, and then you go, mom, I really like to go for practice on Saturday. It's not going to clash with my schoolwork, but I don't know whether there's something you want me to do for you so that I can do them before time and so that I can go for my practice. Did you get what I just said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So make them, first of all, you have to explain when you're dealing with people that don't understand you and you really need them to understand you, you need to explain. That's why I asked who. Because if you're your friends now, I'm not going to be telling you to explain. I'm going to be giving you a different set of response. But because they are your parents, you really have to explain because they are still responsible for you. Okay, they pay your fees, they give you an accommodation and feeding and all of that. So you really have to, it's like having a boss in the office. You really have to come to a table. Sir, this is what you want, this is what I want. um, can I do this? Tell me ahead of time. Like I'm using basketball practice, for instance. Maybe you do practice on Saturday mornings, and there's something they needed you to do on Saturday. By that time, you'd have jive. Mommy, please, I really want to go, and you have to come from a place of humility and all of that. Don't go quarreling. Mommy, please, I really like to go for basketball practice on Saturday mornings by 7 a.m. Is there something that you would want me to do for you so that I can go for my practice? You have to
Uncle
give.
Chidozie,
Yes.
let me just come in at this point.
Okay.
My dear teenagers, I want you to understand something because I am also a parent of teenagers, and I've had, you know, tussles with my teenagers as well. One thing I would say that has helped them in having their way is being consistent in what they want. Now, we're talking about self-confidence, and somebody's like, oh, I don't need it. You do. If you want to, you know, have your way with your parents, you need to be very confident. And what does that mean? Whether they say yes or no, you are standing on what you believe. Let me give you a little example. Yesterday, my children were supposed to take injection from the doctor. And you know, my daughter, they were going back to school today. My teenager was insisting, I need to go and make my hair. My husband was saying, no, you can't go and make your hair. The doctor is coming. She kept saying, you know, mommy, this doctor is not going to come back. I know him. When he goes out, my husband just, you know, wow, left the house. Me too, I was already going off. When she just, you know, followed me. When I saw she was insistent, I picked my call and I called the doctor. Guess what? She was right. The doctor said, ah, no, I'm not coming back now. I'm coming back in the night. My daughter just gave me this look like, I told you. I was so humbled. So sometimes give up. You should use your parents to practice your humility. That's one.
Exactly.
Two, sometimes for some parents, you don't have to, you have to write. Before my daughter became this confident, she used to write a lot. She would write letters to me. She would tell me her mind. Sometimes she would even sound a bit off, but she will write it. Because I'm an advocate for speak out your mind by all means.
Mm,
So even when
mm,
it looks like I want to bully, you know, when that parent ego comes up, they are
mm,
still trying to find a way. My son is not that, you know, not that forward. But you hear
mm,
him say something like, did I not say it? And so the thing
mm.
makes me humble. Okay, so before you go to your parents, always have your point. You know how always come from like a lawyer, present your case as
Exactly.
well. A lot of times
Exactly.
teenagers want to blackmail us. Mommy, no. When you come with your points, this my daughter has been begging me to change her school for a long time. I finally
Okay.
agreed because she came with like 5 reasons. I had to start considering. You
Five
don't
reasons
just,
why we must change
I'm
school.
telling you, when they want something, they ahead of time, while I'm rejecting, they are trying to convince me. So it's like back and forth. Don't think that you
Mm,
can just, you know, mommy, I want this, daddy, I want this, and just take it. No. Our parents, a lot of us are all old school. My children say, mommy, we were born in the other generation. Very true. In our generation, we were not given the opportunity to even speak to our parents on anything. So it's
yeah.
even a bit of a hassle getting our teenagers talk to us, stand up to us just like that. How? So I want to tell everyone listening to me, start your self-confidence journey from your home. They cannot bite you. They stand firm. You're not rude, but you're firm. Mommy, I still think that you should consider my request. Mommy, look at it this way. Would you rather that I stay at home and watch TV all night? Would you rather that I stay at home, be on my phone and gossip with my friends? Would you rather paint like 5 different scenarios? She would choose what you want.
Exactly.
So
What you just
always
said.
put yourself
Exactly.
together.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
I'm going to share one more example. See, when I was in the university, the problem I had with my dad was he didn't like the church I was attending in school. He wanted me to be going to our family church, which is quite a distance from school. Well, first of all, I really did not like the family church there. I hope this is not the case for anybody here. I'm just sharing an example. But here's what happened. Talking about bringing your case. So one day, I asked my dad, I said, sure, you know, if I went to this school now and joined the court, I'll still be coming to your church and you will not know. Now that I'm telling you, jelly, that
Exactly.
I'm not going to join the cult and I need this place. I like what they are teaching me there. Which one will you prefer? Do you prefer that I'm coming to your church and then I go and join one group that is wearing something. And one day you hear that I'm carrying gun inside your house and stuff like that. And then he took him aback. Like, what is this guy
Mhm.
talking about? That's one. Number two is, so one day he had a problem in the office. Somebody was doing something and blah, blah, blah. Long story short. So I told him, um, what is that guy's name that's disturbing you in the office? I've been learning how to pray and get answers. Let me use him as practical. Let's go and pray. He traveled on a Monday morning and gave me the guy's name. And so I stayed up all night. I remember praying on Monday night for that matter. And by Tuesday morning, something happened in the office. And he called me. I told him, I said, you see what? I learned how to pray and get answers from that place that I've been going to. So now we have a deal. I'm learning something good and it's working. And that was how we sorted out that matter. So you're going to have to, Atetima has talked about making your case like a lawyer. I have talked about negotiation. What do you want? What do I want? Put it on the table. These are, negotiation is part of being confident. You know, lawyers are very confident people, even when they are telling you something that is not true. Okay, so you have to be very confident about it. Um, I'm looking at the chart. Okay, I think we are good. We have to be very confident about it. And let me also tell you, it's not going to happen after you finish this class now. Then you get a result tomorrow. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for it to happen. So you have to keep pushing at it. And that one suggests, I don't know when your practices happen for your example. Every other person here has one example or two about what we're discussing. So um, you have to pay attention to it, give yourself some time, learn what you need to do, what do they want from you, how can you find a middle ground for everybody to agree. Okay. And Tetima is no longer on this call. I hope she comes back because I want to show us a video. I want to show us a video. All right. Have I helped you? Have I helped you? Have you found something that you're going to try out? I want to hear from you. Hello? Joshua, are you there?
Yes.
Uh, what happened? I think everybody got knocked out by the network. What happened while I was away? And it's just you now. Trying to see.
Nothing. Nothing really happened.
Okay, give me a moment. I'll come back here. I'm still connected. Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Hello, Auntie Atima. Okay, the recording has started again, and we will
Okay.
continue now.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right, so just before the break, I was talking about, excuse me, I was talking about how to build self-confidence, while I was trying to answer that question about somebody wanting to make our parents understand from where we're coming from. Just as a recap, before we lost our connection there, I was trying to say, just like Auntie Tima was talking about negotiations, okay? You need to learn to negotiate, you need to learn to stand your ground, you need to learn to, because part of self-confidence is, part of self-confidence is that, and I think God also relates with us like this. You're praying for something, but you're not really sure. Tomorrow you can change your mind. So confident people are people that are not very often changing their mind on things that they believe or things that they actually desire. So you want to convince the person that you're making that request from that, you know what, I know what I want and I'm going for what I want. So you have to stay on that particular issue for a while until you get it done. So again, talking about how to build self-confidence, I've talked about dealing with that inner talk, inner voice that you constantly hear, that is telling you, oh, you're not good enough, or you're not beautiful enough, or you're not handsome enough, or whatever it is, you're not brilliant enough. You have to learn how to counteract that voice. Counteracting that voice is telling yourself, you know what, I am good enough. There's a short video I'm going to send to Antetima to share with us on the WhatsApp group. I just saw it this evening and I thought, since we're discussing self-confidence, it might be something good for you to speak to yourself about who you are and what you are and what you can do. So reduce your negative self-talk, critical talk, um, uh, ah, who knows now whether this thing I'm about to do, whether I'll do it well. No, you will do it well. Unless you're not planning to give your best to it. Unless you're not planning to give your best to it. If you give your best to it, you're going to do it well. You're going to come out successful with it. Like I told the younger people on Friday, I said part of building self-confidence is that you also need to identify your skills. You need to identify your giftings. You need to identify your unique talents. Because the more of yourself that you know, it is called self-awareness. The more of yourself that you know, the more confident that you are. If you realize, okay, I know how to swim, but I don't know how to run, confident. Oh, we clap for the person. God bless you. You can run. I cannot. When you're done running, let's meet ourselves in the swimming pool. I saw Auntie Tima writing some things about swimming recently on Facebook, and I was just laughing throughout that conversation. Okay, so yeah, I can swim, you can run. God bless you. I know I'm good at mathematics, you're good at English language. Well, let's clap for you. That's why we have doctors. doctors, we have engineers, we have musicians, we have painters, we have different all sorts of professions, and even the ones that we don't are not so aware of in this part of the world. We have astronauts, we have all manner of scientists and all of that. People are good in their different spheres. So you need to identify what your own sphere is. Is it singing that you are good at? Is it basketball that you're good at? So that we celebrate you. Nobody can say that what's the name of the football guy now? Cristiano Ronaldo. Nobody can say that Cristiano Ronaldo does not know how to sing, because you're not going to judge him by singing. Nobody can say that Lionel Messi does not know how to rap. What's his business with rapping? He has identified football and then he's sticking to football. You cannot say that Domoen does not know how to play football. What is business with football? He has identified, what, my gifting is keyboard and singing, and I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities. And that is what I want you to do. Take that as an assignment from this class. Identify what are my gifts, what are my talents, so that you can sit down and develop yourself in that area. Of course, while you're working on your academics. Again, in academics, it's important for you. Maybe you're in your final year in your secondary school, that's fine. I realize that we have to choose a science class, arts class, or all of those things. It's about identifying your gifts. I'm good in the sciences, I'm not good in the arts. It doesn't, students have this idea, what they call it now, science students are more brilliant than art students. Who told you? Where did you get that? Art students are more than, no, all of those things are nonsense. I tell students, sciences without art is boring. Art without science is stupid. It doesn't make sense. So we need, science is I have a television, but art is, what is my television going to show me? So the sciences give us the television, the arts give us the entertainment that we view on the television. So you see, if you have a television that's not showing you movies, it's not showing you news, those in the or the mass communication field, it's not showing you anything. It's just a box of TV there. It's just a box. Whoever invented it invented a box. So we all need one another as we grow, and that's what I want to let you know. Let's save time now. Building confidence, that is very important. Identify your skills, identify where you are, because once you do, you're not going to have much of a problem, staying confident. People are going to come at you with things that they know how to do. You know how to do. God bless you. Thank you. Now remember, this is the last thing I talked to them on Friday about. Remember, and somebody has mentioned it in this class, that getting it wrong doesn't make you a failure. Making a mistake doesn't make you a failure. If you are afraid of making mistakes, then you are not going to try out new things. Confident people are not afraid of trying new things. Hey, the first time I learned to drive, I almost crashed the car. Thank God I didn't. But nobody ever learns how to drive in one day. Nobody ever learned how to sing in one day. The first time I sang in a choir, I messed up. Oh, big time. I messed up big time in that choir. I didn't sing again for a very long time. But you know what? It was my first year in university, and they put me on this choir. I did very well in the rehearsals until the day of the performance. I got stage fright, and I sang rubbish that day. Okay, but you're not afraid to make mistakes. People are going to tell you, and don't be afraid to be told that you made a mistake, because you knew you made a mistake. So people are going to tell you, hey, you messed up. Yes, I know I messed up. We're going to try again tomorrow. Simple. It's of course it was embarrassing. Like I said, I left singing for a long time. So if you want to know what I did to avoid I left singing for a long time. So it was like Thomas Edison, the guy that invented the bulb, light bulb times, and then in the last time he got it right. So make a mistake. Mistakes are part of life. I don't know. This is something I want to start talking about now. This idea that people should be perfect and all of that is abusing self-confidence. It doesn't help us. People are going to make mistakes, and we have to accept it. I don't like young people laughing when somebody makes a mistake, but sometimes you can't help the first impression to, but always help people to come back to their feet. That's what I know. Young, confident people help people to come back to their feet. Okay, we all make mistakes. And then if you're in school, I will encourage that you find a cause that you support. I don't know whether we still have the Red Cross and some of those social causes. That's where young people learn to build self-confidence. Volunteer for something. I encourage volunteering. Go to church and join the what are those departments we have in church now? Maybe you join the choir, build your confidence in singing. Maybe you join the drama department. But those are just activity groups. I'm thinking about causes now that you can support. Go and help. If you find a group that is helping to do prison visitations, there's a sense of self-confidence that comes on you. Like, you know what we did last week? We went to Ikoyi prisons. I remember the first time I went to Ikoyi prisons in Lagos. We went to give clothes to prisoners. It's going to make you see that there are people in worse situations than you are, and then you're going to appreciate God for where you are, and then become more confident about it, that you're actually helping solve a problem in society. It boosts a lot of confidence. And for your age bracket, that is something that you should consider doing. Then finally, I'm going to tell you to pray. Oh, you don't know how much confidence can come from praying. When you finish talking with the God of the universe, it kind of boosts your ego. When I come out of my door in the morning and I've spoken with the strongest being on the planet, I don't know who you are to come and talk to me during the day. Okay, so take time to pray, and that will be my counsel for you. Let me show you the video I talked about earlier. Let me see if I can share my screen, and if we still have time after the video, then we can take some comments and maybe one other part of it, because this subject is something we can keep talking about for quite a long time. And then if you have any questions, I'm not looking at the charts now. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat or raise your hand. Myself or Antietim will be able to see you and ask you to talk. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to share my screen. Just give me a few seconds. It's loading. Can everybody see my screen? And Tetima, can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay.
The next guest is a straight A student from Atlanta, Georgia.
Can you hear the audio?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
The next guest is a straight A student from Atlanta, Georgia, who applied to over 40 colleges because she asked them to waive the application fees. Well, she's been accepted to over 30.
Oh wow, we lost it there.
Hello, Mr. Harvey.
Oh, you lost the video or the audio?
The audio at that point, at some point. If you can just say what you say.
Okay, I'm going to try again. How about now?
Video showing no audio.
Oh, I really wanted us to hear the girl herself when she starts talking.
I had to. You had to go to agency. Yes.
Okay, it's back.
Were you nervous about applying to the schools?
Yes. I feel like every high school senior is nervous about applying to schools because you don't know where you're going to end up going. You know, you take these tests and you take certain classes to set yourself up for what happens after. And unfortunately, I didn't make good SAT scores. It kind of scared me because I was like, okay, I know I have good grades, but are they just going to let this one test determine of what college I go to? And I didn't want that for myself. So that was my biggest fear.
This is really hard for me to take talking to you because you're in high school and you're smarter than me. That's throwing me off a little bit.
I don't think I'm smarter than you. I feel like you're a really wise man.
Thank you for trying to make me feel. Listen. What made you decide to ask them to waive the fee? Nobody does that.
Because the application fee costs so much, and I didn't want that to be the only thing that was hindering my opportunities. So I decided, well, what would be the easiest way to get in contact with somebody to see if I don't have to pay? So I just called the admissions office, was like, hi, my name is Kayla Willis. How do I not pay for this application? And they told me about the application fee waivers or how you do it. And then I just started doing it. And then I told my classmates and my schoolmates and my friends, like, hey, you don't have to spend all this money for it. All you have to do is just call.
You went viral when you posted this tweet right here. It says, someone said the whole world needs to know how great you are. Who told you that?
My dad. I was going to work, and I was like, do I really want to post this right now? He's like, post what? And I showed him the photo. He was like, the world needs to know how great you are. So I decided to post it. And this has led.
There's a straight-A student from Atlanta, Georgia, who applied to over 40
Okay.
colleges because she asked them to waive the application fees.
Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing it there. I don't think the video is incomplete. Like I said earlier, I'm going to, all of these videos I want to share with you, I'm going to send it to Entertainment to share with us on the WhatsApp group. So, but I don't know a bit of what you got from that particular video. Here are two things I wished we could discuss, but our time is fast spent. First of all, she was nervous about applying for the scholarships. But being nervous doesn't stop you from doing what you know you ought to do. That's confidence. Yeah, I might fail, but I want to give it a try. The second part of it is she didn't have enough money to pay for all of those things. And then she started looking for, I want to go to this school, but I don't have money to pay the fees. How do I find a solution to it? So the fact that you meet an obstacle shouldn't make you resign. You remember, we're discussing you want to stand out in excellence. You want to be an excellent person. You want to be an outstanding person, but you need self-confidence. How about when you meet obstacles on the way? How about when you meet obstacles on the way? So you want to pay attention to the things that we have talked about in building self-confidence. Okay. The most important thing is that you need to see yourself in a positive way, but also in a realistic way. I am the greatest in what I do, but I have challenges. So how do I solve those challenges? Because great people solve challenges. Confident people solve problems. Confident people don't shy away from issues when they come. Acknowledge the parts where you're not strong enough or as strong as you would like to be, but also while acknowledging that, build up in your strength, build up on the things that you know you can do. So if you're really good at something, you don't play down on it because you're not good at something else. That is just a summary of what I want to speak to you about. Lastly, for tonight, I hope I can do this in 2 minutes. Is part of what we're saying is about peer pressure. Some other persons are still joining this. Talking about peer pressure, this is one thing that affects our self-confidence most of the time. Is uh, people on the same level as you are. Those are your peers. Maybe they are classmates, they are schoolmates. You meet them in church, or you meet them on the streets, in the neighborhood where you live. Okay, they are like generally people in your circle of friends, and most of the time you tend to judge yourself. Excuse me, you tend to judge yourself based on how these persons see you. Do you take your decisions based on what is right or based on what your friends think? That is a reflection of your self-confidence. You're not supposed to be taking your decision based on what somebody says. You're supposed to take your decision based on what is right. It is right for this book to be placed on this part of my table. It's right. My friend thinks I'm always trying to be perfect. That's why I want the book. No. Is it right for the book to be here? Yes. Let's keep it there. It is right for me to live a responsible life in school. Or my friends think, my friends will say I'm a Jew guy. It's cool to binge on alcohol or to smoke something. But is it right? If it is not right, I don't do it, no matter what my friends say. And over time, you're going to become the influence that your friends need. The challenge is that most, like what I've said before, most good people always listen, keep their mouth shut, and let the foolish people talk. But build up your self-confidence so that you can counter peer pressure. You're going to see a lot of issues with peer pressure. It also helps you to choose friends. Confident people know how to choose their friends. Hey, what are your values? Do they align with my values? If they don't align with my values, God bless you, I love you, but we can't be friends. I don't go telling people that we can't be friends, but there's a very simple way to make it happen. I spend less time with you, so you just obviously know that we're not friends. I go to less places with you. My friends, I go to places with them. If I need to go to the movies, I go to the movies with them. If we just want to go hang out, I eat with them. But the moment I start limiting my activities around it, it's going to be obvious that we are not friends. We don't gist, we don't call, we don't chat. We just see ourselves in class. Hey, hi, you're good, we're good. And, that's where it's up. So, but this is only possible, like I said, when you have built your self-confidence. That's only possible when you have built your self-confidence. So that's where I think I'm going to stop it for tonight. That clip I just shared is incomplete. I'm going to get the complete one and send to us. And the other clip about affirmations, things that you can speak to yourself about, is something I'm also going to share with you. I wanted us to have some discussion, but I'm not sure our time will permit us to do discussions now. A few questions I wanted us to talk about. We are already far,
No, if
far,
we can
far.
just take one or two, if we can just take one or two,
Oh,
maybe in 5 minutes and then we're done. Yeah.
okay, okay. So who wants to talk with me? I can see Divine is still here, Abigail and Farida. Go ahead and unmute yourself or send me a chat.
Okay.
But I think talking faster.
Before they say something, I want to
Okay.
mention to us, and I don't know if you have noticed this, Uncle Chidozie, this issue of
Yes.
self-confidence is worse with girls. Why does it
Yeah.
seem like girls are the ones that are lacking it? So the girls that are in the house, can you share with us what's the problem? Who is speaking down on you? Is it your parents? Is it yourself? Is it the environment? I mean, what is the issue? Because I know that girls have a lot on their inside, but I don't know why they let what people say, think, or feel about them really, really matter. Who are we going to blame? Are we going to blame the people that are speaking down on us? Are we going to blame ourselves for accepting it? So if anyone here can share on their personal experience or someone else's experience that they know about, it would be nice. I'm sure we can learn from it.
Okay, so who is the confident person that wants to go first? I'm waiting. We are waiting.
Farida, we have not heard your voice for long. Farida, speak. Divine, too. I've not heard you for some time. School people, please speak. We are listening.
Okay, Farida wants to talk now. Yes, go ahead. You are unmuted.
Or you can write, we'll read it.
Abigail, do you want to talk? I can see your microphone is going mute and unmute. And if you want to talk, go ahead. All of you are thinking who is going to talk first. I'm looking at your mics and I'm seeing it go off and on and off and on. You're checking who is going to talk. But what they're saying is true, yeah. And anybody wants to talk, unmute yourself and join the conversation. That's actually why I chose that video to show us, because you can see she's a girl and she's talking about her insecurities, but how she acts in spite of those insecurities. Um, I used to share a video a few years ago. I don't know how old she is now. When that happened, she was 13 years old. Farida says her mic isn't working properly. Okay, go ahead and write. Send us a chat. What do you think? Why are girls more affected by low self-confidence? That's the question. Why do you think it affects girls more? Just go ahead and talk to us about that. So the girl I used to show her video many years ago is Kimberly. Kimberly Anyadike. She's a Nigerian American. She was 13 years old when she flew a plane across 13 states in the United States of America. I used to share her videos with teenagers many years ago. I don't know how old that lady is now because it's been quite some time. So, and then there were conversations about how she was able to do it. Then I think Barack Obama was the president of the US then, because when she landed on the final state, she was received by the president for doing that amazing feat. You can imagine flying a plane across several states and landing successfully and all of that. She was coming from a very poor background. She actually just took a scholarship, and the scholarship worked out, and she was able to venture in this great great feat. Okay, so I think it's something important for us to begin to learn. And the younger you are, when you build it, when you develop it, the better it is for you. The younger you are, when you start um, trying out stuff for yourself, trying out great things. For
Yeah,
instance, go on
um,
competitions. And Tetima, are you saying something?
no, I said I agree. The earlier you start trying out things, that's the word. Start
Yeah,
trying out,
yeah,
fail, do better,
yeah.
come back again, over and over. By the time you know it, you'll become very stable, very confident. So you can't dodge the process. I mean, you can't dodge it. You can't avoid
My
it,
friend,
really.
I've, what's his name now? The movie
Okay,
actor.
Farida is saying
Uh,
something.
Okay, because there are a lot of things expected from females: hygiene, looks, hair, etc. So before a female goes out, she has to look as good as possible because she gets criticized. Or when she walks into a room, she's going to be the first person that everyone is looking at. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, okay. I get that. I get that. So this is what I will call social pressure. A social pressure, and it can be so strong. It's very strong. I can understand what you're saying, Farida. Social pressure is something very strong. The expectations that society have from us. For instance, I said when we started that boys are not expected to cry. That is a big pressure on boys. Like, excuse me, I have tear glands, just like every other human being has a tear gland. Why should I cry? So I don't
Why
understand.
should you cry?
Is it that God created those with, so, but here's what I'll say to you, Farida, and to every other girl that is listening to this. And this is about self-confidence. You have to build your confidence above the society. Yes, you have to build your confidence far and above what society thinks. And I'm careful when I mention role models to young people so that you don't go following the wrong set of persons. But if you see some of the women that are making waves in our generation, in the generation of our parents, um, Dr. Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala used to be the finance minister in Nigeria. She's currently a vice president, or I think, yeah, one of the vice presidents in the World Bank, and she's contesting now to become the president of the World Trade Organization, which is the highest office in the finance sector internationally and globally. Something strikes me about her. And Tetima, have you noticed that Madam Okonjo does not tie her scarf like any other woman on planet Earth?
Just very strange style. Very strange
No
style she uses.
other woman on planet Earth that I know of ties a scarf like she does. She's not interested in what is in
Right.
Vogue, what is in your magazines.
Mm,
She's not interested. She just wraps that thing around her head, and it has become a style.
mm,
It has become her signature.
yeah.
I mean, who told you, who boxed you into this corner? The other woman that contested presidency, what's her name now? Ezekwesili. That one
Yeah,
just goes
on
on
low
look
cuts.
forth. She doesn't even make the look or try to look. She don't try to make it look fine. She just, I don't know who her baba is. She just, cuts the hair. And some other person will style it, put a gel somewhere, put a dye somewhere. No, she doesn't care. You know what?
Car.
Somebody said the people who are crazy enough to think that they will change the world are the people who actually change the world. Young people, can we all, and I'm talking to myself as well, stop trying to fit in? You were designed to stand out. Stop trying to fit into anything. I see this a lot when I go to church. I see there's a certain way that we're supposed to dress because we're in church. Excuse me, decency is decency. There's no decency of tie and suit and another decency of a shirt and a jean. No, decency is decency. Stop trying to fit into what they said, what people will say. You see that statement? I hate it so much. It has killed a lot of people's dreams. It has killed a lot of people's self-confidence. What will people say? To hell with what people will say. I have advised you in this conversation. I said, determine what is right as long as what you're doing is not offending God, is not offending your neighbor. You are on the right track. Expectations of how you look. I tell young girls, excuse me, see, stop trying to look like the girl you saw in the magazine. That girl you saw in the magazine does not look like that girl you saw. The girl you saw in the magazine doesn't look like the girl you saw in the magazine. I say that again. Stop trying to look like the girl in the magazine. The girl in the magazine doesn't look like the girl in the magazine. If you see that girl in the magazine in real life, you're going to realize what I've said. So, because all of these looks that we're trying to look like are made up looks. You want to look like Beyonce on stage? Have you seen Beyonce off stage? So, what other things did you mention? Hygiene. I think hygiene is basic for everybody. Okay, hygiene is basic for everybody. If you cannot afford a perfume, put powder. It's something we used to do when we were much younger. You find all these powder that smells very nice, and you rub it on your palm, and you put it here, you put it here. Just who said you must wear? I mean, who made all these rules for us? Like, for crying out loud, who made all these rules for us? But hygiene is hygiene. Take your bath, shave your head, brush your teeth, polish your shoes, or at least dust them off. It's Hamatan now, so yeah, it's likely going to have dust off and on. Clean your shoes. Clean is clean. You see, you have to separate clean from classy. Class is a different thing. Clean is clean. Be clean on your way out and you're good. Your hairstyle, I've just mentioned two very powerful women in this country and in the world. Those women are powerful in the world. They don't subscribe to the conventional hairstyles. Choose your own hairstyle. You know what? If you stay with that hairstyle long enough, everybody's going to want to look like you. Hairstyle long enough, everybody's going to, like I said, clean is clean. Just make sure the hairstyle is clean. What you're wearing on that hair is clean. Clean is clean. Everywhere in the world, clean is clean. Before you go out, how you look. No, you determine how you look. I know a lady, I met her, I think in Akwa Ibom State sometime, quite older. She told me she doesn't wear wrappers. Why does she not wear wrappers? She said because in her village, everybody is measuring whose wrapper is more expensive than the other person's wrapper. So she stopped tying wrappers. She goes to the village wearing trousers and suit. So while you're checking the price of wrapper, you don't know the price of her trousers, so you can just mind your business. All right. I was just trying to respond to Farida on all of that. So I think that's a good place to begin to round off now, unless we have any other question, but I'm not seeing any other person identify that they have a question. So this is where we'll call it a wraps. Let me just show us one last thing. There's a Bible passage I was reading after I finished the class on Friday with the young persons. Somehow I just stumbled on that. It's something I've known for quite a while, but I've never seen it in that light. It is in Isaiah chapter 100. No, it's not Isaiah, it's Psalm 144. Psalm 144, I think is verse, let me see now, verse 12. It says, oh, I wish I can find simpler translations, but we don't have so much time. Yep. Our sons are like tall young plants. Our daughters are like shining stones of a king's house. Our boys, let me put it in my own translation now. Our boys will be like tall plants that are grown up. Our girls will be like pillars in a king's palace. Imagine yourself coming from a king's palace. Imagine yourself coming from a king's palace. Imagine yourself as a prince. Imagine yourself as the prince of a kingdom, the kingdom of Nigeria. We don't have kingdoms in our times again. Imagine yourself like a king's daughter, a king's son. And how do you think kings address themselves, carry themselves, look at themselves? And what do kings do? What do kings not do? Young boys, young girls, princes and princesses, begin to see yourselves like that. We don't have the time to get into all of the details because I actually wanted to do a detailed conversation on this, but our time is up. I'll leave you with that. Imagine yourself as a king, imagine yourself as a prince, imagine yourself as a queen, imagine yourself as a princess. The princess doesn't care what the rest of the people in the village think about her. She does as a princess. She dresses as a princess. He dresses as a prince. Clean, prim, and proper. Whatever any other person thinks is up to them. So, Auntie Tima, thank you very much for having me on this call. And thank you very much, guys, for being patient. We had an interruption sometime in the middle of our conversation, and most of us were able to join back again. I appreciate that. I hope you learned something from our together. I'll see you again some other time. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, I was so sad when the network just disrupted violently that awesome transmission that was going on. Thank you so much. So, but don't worry, guys. Uncle Chidozie He's already a mentor at the academy, and so next year we're going to see more of him. Okay, he's a young person, and if you need to talk to someone, especially for the boys, you can always, let me know, and I'll let you speak to him one-on-one and personally. Thank you so much, guys. No need to take more of your time because of how much time we've spent already, but I know it was worth it. I have learned a lot. I know you have as well. So we'll get the recordings, put together, and then we'll let you have them during the week. Please switch on your mics and say thank you to Uncle Chidozie. Thank you so much, sir. Wish you more
Thank you
grace,
very much, ma'am.
more
Thank
strength,
you.
bigger platforms, bigger opportunities, international open doors, and all the
Amen.
blessings and grace that come with working for God and being a blessing to the world's amaziest, there's a word like that, most awesome, most amazing people, the teenagers. Thank you, Farida. I say thank you on the chat room.
Thank you
And
very
I hear
much,
someone
Farida.
else's voice too. Thank you for saying thank you. I see Divine is here. Divine, it's good to see you. Abigail, miss you. All right, guys. So take care and have a blessed night. Bye.
All right, good night, everyone.